Coming up, I'm going to tell you why you need to stop all the overscheduling. And then 70% of job seekers say they're cheating during the hiring process. What does that mean? We'll break it all down next. Helping you win at work. This is the Ken Coleman Show, and I'm him. All right, I want to talk about what I see as a real problem in the professional growth world. In other words, men and women who are professionals who you want to be successful, you want to grow, but you're not growing at the rate that you'd like to be growing. In other words, you're not getting the opportunities that you would like to get, all that good stuff. And we're talking about with the team, and I said what I see as the problem here that we're going to take on today very practically is that we're so busy that we don't have time to grow. You're just busy. You could equate this to someone who says that I'm so busy, I can't eat healthy. I'm just so busy. Okay. So if you're too busy, if your rhythm of life is so busy that you cannot eat and exercise the right way, then you would have to make changes to your lifestyle and your rhythm and your schedule, correct? So if you're a person who goes, you know what, I'm not getting the opportunities for growth that I would like, I'm not meeting the right people, I feel as though I'm just kind of going through the motions, I never get looked at, nobody pays attention to me, blah, 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 then today is the show for you. So the solution to this problem that you're so busy, you're so overscheduled that you don't have time to actually grow, and let me tell you the growth process we're going to talk about today in detail is the process of connecting with people that are successful, just constantly hanging out with, and I mean constantly. Now, constantly would be in a weekly rhythm. Obviously, there might be days where just life happens and work happens, you can't do it. But we have an intentional rhythm of spending time with successful people. That is our goal today because I believe more than anything else professionally, your opportunity for growth comes from hanging out with people that are better than you. One more piece of data that I always use all the time because it's, to me, the gold standard of data around professional growth. It's the Harvard study on relationships where they found that 95% of your success or failure in life, in every area, but certainly as a professional, 95% of your success or failure is directly related to the people you spend the most time with. So here we go. And this is exciting because I did some research. And I came up with, Alex, the Super 7 results from hanging out with successful people. The Super 7. Now, these are 7 tangible, and I'm going to walk you through them. And let me tell you something. There's a reason why I called them super, not just because it sounds good with 7. But there are, I believe, 7 foundational results for success that come as a result of hanging out with successful people. Here we go. Number 1, you will be inspired and thus motivated. So you will get inspiration from them and motivation because of them. In other words, when I'm hanging around successful people, I'm just going to speak from my own experience today. Their stories, their personal stories inspire me. And when I learn about their stories and how they have become successful, it motivates me. It just naturally motivates me. I got my own motives based on their stories. So I get inspiration from them and motivation because of them. Number 2. The second super result that you get from spending time with successful people, you get opportunities to connect with more successful people. I've never been at one of my fun cigar hangouts, Alex, where I didn't meet new people in the midst of it. So I'm just by going there to our gathering, I meet cool guys. And I'm not kidding you. Every time I go, it always happens, at least 2 or 3 connections in the next couple of weeks happen as a result of meeting other successful people. So when I'm around successful people, I build a relationship with them and they introduce me to other relationships. Number 3, this is the third super result from hanging out with successful people. I get knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge would be facts. I learn interesting things. I learn practical things. And then as I continue to hang out with them and build trust, I get wisdom from them. In other words, I learn things from a knowledge standpoint, but sometimes I'll say, hey, let me run something by you guys. Here's what I'm dealing with, or here's what I'm thinking about. What would you do? And that's where the wisdom comes in. Knowledge and wisdom. Number 4, the fourth super result that you get from hanging out with successful people is behavior change. Behavior change. You start acting like them. Now, I led off with the data from Harvard. They've been studying people from birth to death for over 80 years, folks. The study's still going on, and they said 95% of our success or failure is a result of hanging out with people. So the people we are around are dictating our success or failure. So in other words, they are either driving you to be better or draining you. It's just a fact. So when I'm around high achievers, I begin to talk like them, think like them, and act like them. That's the simple takeaway. Number 5, the fifth super result that comes from hanging out with successful people is accountability. Now, this is a dovetail off the last one, right? When I'm hanging around successful people, I start to think like them. I start to talk like them. I start to act like them. That's a good thing, okay? But here's what happens. There's another layer of that. And so there's some accountability because they'll start to notice if you're falling off. I'll give you an example of this one, very specific example. I remember when I was training for my first half marathon, there was a friend of mine by the name of Daniel Tardy who worked here at the time, and Daniel was an ultra marathoner, great runner, very disciplined, very effective. The guy could just run like a machine. And I remember asking him, can I train with you in the couple weeks before the half marathon? He said yes, and then he went so far as to say, I'll run with you. He was going to run the race anyway. He wasn't going for a personal record. He was just doing it to be in shape. And he said, you know what? I'll run. I'll pace you. I'll pace you, he said. I gave him my goals, and Daniel paced me the whole race. Now, let me tell you something. That's accountability because if I'm running by myself that day, Alex, I promise you I'm sitting on the curb. I'm taking a 20-minute break, Bob. Me and Gatorade, not haterade. There's no hating on myself if I'm running by myself. But guess what would have happened if I said to Daniel Tardy in the middle of that race, hey, listen, man, I need to take a 20-minute break. He would have lit me up. That's accountability. Number 6, the sixth super result that comes from hanging out with successful people is enhanced skills, the things that I was already better at. Now, we talked about behavior change for number 4, but now I'm talking about we're going to sharpen some skills here. And this is where we want to get very specific in our craft. So, for instance, when I was starting out in broadcasting, I started hanging out with, having lunch with, and sitting alongside and even volunteering to help the TV play-by-play announcer for the Atlanta Hawks. This is big time, folks. This is NBA. Kelly, you didn't know that. That's a fun Atlanta story. It's a true story. Bob Rathbun, he's still the play-by-play TV host, play-by-play TV host of the Atlanta Hawks. And so guess what? My skills got better because I hung out with Bob and I paid attention to what he did, and I would do some early play-by-play stuff and send it to him, and he would tell me what I did wrong, and he would talk to me on how I did pace and things of that nature. So I'm going to enhance my skills. So what field are you in? You in digital marketing? Hang out with really good digital marketers. You in social media? Hang out with really good social media people. Are you a producer? Hang out with good producers. You in sales? Hang out with stud salespeople. You a graphic designer? Hang out with graphic designers that are really great. Number 7, and our final super result that comes from hanging out with successful people is access to resources. This is the one that nobody ever thinks about, but let me tell you what happens when you hang out with successful people. They're reading and watching and listening to stuff that you're not aware of. There's a reason why they're really good. And they're going to go, hey, have you watched this? Have you listened to this? Have you read this book? The conversation, Alex, over cigars is crazy. It's probably its own podcast. Just guys, we start talking about books and stuff we're listening to. It's pretty fascinating. And I'm not kidding you. It'll be like this. I'll have a stogie in one hand. I go, oh, hold on. I got to grab my phone, and I'm typing it in this book. And this. I'm just telling you, access to resources through what they are digesting, or in many cases, they can open up a door for you and go, hey, I'm gonna call a friend, and I'm gonna get you hooked up to this conference or this. I'm just telling you. Hanging out with successful people will give you access to resources that you didn't previously know you had. So, what's my point? We started off with the problem today, and the problem is we get so busy that essentially we distract ourselves from growth. And I'm telling you today, through one growth strategy, which is connecting with successful people. That's just one. That's the only one I focused on today. But listen to me. There are a million strategies, but you have got to make time. You cannot be so busy doing that you're never growing. Too much doing hampers your growing. And that's the lesson today. So hopefully that helped you. Start doing it now and watch your life get better and your paycheck get bigger. Hey folks, I want to tell you about Aiden. He started at Bethel Tech 2 weeks after graduating high school, and less than a year later, he's 19 and working as a full-stack software developer. He loved the idea of being able to work at his own pace, but what he really thought was cool was Bethel Tech's faith-based learning environment and being with classmates who had a similar worldview. Now, if this is you, or if you have a son or a daughter that's looking for the next step out of high school, and they may be tech-minded, at least interested, you need to talk to Bethel Tech. Listen to this. Fortune Magazine named them as a top 10 best UX UI bootcamp for 2024. And right now, they're offering you 10% off because you listen and watch the Ken Coleman Show. They also allow you to pay cash, and I know you'll like that. Go to betheltech.net/Ken Coleman for details. Terms and conditions apply. All right, folks, welcome back. Hey, listen, don't forget, if you are someone who's struggling with confidence right now, it's because I can tell you have a lack of clarity, and I've got the ultimate, I really believe in this product, the ultimate self-awareness product. It's called the Get Clear Assessment. You can get it right now. It's only $30. It's about an 18 to 20-minute process, and I would get the Get Clear Assessment, Find the Work You're Wired to Do. I would get the book because it comes with the assessment. Find the Work You're Wired to Do is the book. You can get it at kencoleman.com in the store. And it's a great gift as well. It comes with the assessment. And then once you get your results, the book picks you up right there. Don't even read the book. Don't even touch the book until you've taken the assessment. And it'll really help you. Also, if you're enjoying the show, will you help us stay relevant out there by liking, subscribing, sharing, following, rating, all the things? I would appreciate it. Okay, this is really funny. I think this is funny. It's kind of funny. It's kind of sad. This is the headline. 7 in 10 recent job seekers cheated during the hiring process. The data is way worse than this. So hang on. This is a bit of a ride. And there's a couple of takeaways. Let me first set the scene. In other words, I don't know if you paid attention to this, Alex or Kelly, but we are a cheating bunch of fools. Us Americans. I mean, look, the data, I'm about ready to unveil this, but the takeaway is we're a bunch of cheaters. And here's the second takeaway that's going to surprise Alex. I haven't told him because he may not have let me do it, but I'm going to do it anyway because he's in there and I'm here. I started reviewing this data and I was trying to get irritated. And I was trying to get irritated, and I was trying to get irritated, and I couldn't get irritated. I couldn't get irritated. And I am not saying that it is okay to be a cheater. However, Controversial take coming. If you're asked to do something that is worthless or irrelevant, do you get a pass? Do you get a pass from effort when someone's asking you to do something that's just a complete waste of time? I don't know the answer. I'm not taking a position yet. All I'm saying is I couldn't get irritated. Now, before I go any further on this, I just have a hunch here. And I could be wrong. So Kelly, the associate producer, I'm putting you on the spot because she has a very strong opinion. She's very sassy. The thing about Alex, the producer, is he has a very strong opinion, but he's not sassy. So he's just not as fun to talk to sometimes. All right. So Kelly, are you a rule follower?
My rule of thumb is ask for forgiveness instead of permission.
So you're not a rule follower?
No.
At all. Okay.
No.
So this is exciting. I wasn't sure because she's very gifted with details. And so I was wondering if she was a rule follower. You surprised me with that response. I thought I was going to get yes. So stand by and please pay attention because I might come for another opinion. She represents the female millennial opinion. Are you Gen Z?
I am a millennial. Thank you.
Millennial. I thought you were. But see, that's a compliment. See?
No, I received it. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Into the data. We already told you 7 in 10 job seekers cheated or lied during the hiring process. But there's several different parts of the hiring process. This is interesting. So we'll go through this quickly. Here we go. 22% cheated on a work assessment. This was in the hiring process. They were asked to take some type of an assessment, and they cheated. 15% cheated on a phone interview. 13% during an in-person interview, and 11% in a video interview. Now I ask you, how do you cheat in an in-person interview? Is that the old school write on your hand deal? I don't know. They don't tell us. Now this is where it gets dicey. 1 in 2 gave a false reference, and 22% lied on their resume. Now, quick pause here. I don't know why people are still lying on their resume. There's been so many public falls, like college football coaches. The one that sticks out to me was the guy, George O'Leary, Bob. You'll remember this. He was the coach of Georgia Tech. He gets to the Notre Dame job. We're talking about a top 5 job in all of college football from a prestige standpoint, at least back then anyway. And he lied on his resume, and they fired him. I don't understand. You know, people are losing their jobs, very public jobs, because they lied on their resume. People are still doing it. And then the half of all people gave a false reference. That means you are playing poker. You might as well be playing roulette. Black, please. I mean, if they're going to call the reference and it's a false reference, you're screwed. I don't understand it. I got to tell you, it's not that I'm irritated from a moral standpoint. I can't even get that far. I want to throw up in my mouth right now. I'm so nervous for these people. All right. Kelly, stay tuned. I gotta get your opinion here in a second. All right. 29%, only 29% of people said they've never cheated during the hiring process. So, wow, it's time for the apocalypse to come get us out of here. We're so unethical. Holy moly. Now, listen to this. Of the recent job seekers, the 22% who said they cheated on online assessments, and this was the point I made at the start of the show, 71% Googled answers, 37% utilized ChatGPT, and 33% sought out assistance from others. Among those who got external help, the most common sources were friends, followed by significant others. Now, why are people cheating? This is why. 62% are anxious about the just test itself. 39% think someone else can do it better. 32% don't even know how to complete the assessment. And 19% are just lazy. They're like, I don't know how to do this. All right? So, here's the question, Kelly. It sounds like these are just gates that companies are making people go through. I can't get a good grip on that it's kind of it's not life and death stuff here. So the question is, Kelly, Do you understand? Because I'm not going to put you in a position where you're going to prove it. Do you understand why some of these people, based on those factors, they're anxious about the test, they think someone else can do it better than them, they don't even know how to do it, or they're just lazy? What say you?
As someone who's had really bad test anxiety my whole life.
Okay, good perspective here.
I get it to a degree.
To a degree. All right. Now, let me ask you this. If this is not a real do or die thing, like the job applicant knows, this is just a thing. This isn't like going to prevent me from doing my job. Is it something that we should all be irritated by? Or should we say, why are we making people do these tests? What say you, Kelly? Should we be irritated by this?
I don't think so, if it's not part of like their main role.
All right. Now, I should put a giant asterisk out there that I know she agrees with me on. If you're learning how to fly a rocket, they don't make people do these kinds of things. It's a whole different ballgame. So the stuff we're talking about here, folks, is not life and death stuff. All right. So here's the deal. Now, this is interesting. What happened to the cheaters? Anybody want to know? I wanted to know. I couldn't get to the end of the article fast enough. By the way, I forgot to mention 1 in 5 lied on the resume. Remember we were talking about they gave a false reference? Some people are just straight up making stuff up on their resume. No surprise there, I guess. But here's what happened. 3 in 10 cheaters actually faced consequences. 31% reported facing professional consequences, including the job offer was rescinded. 17% said the job offer was taken away from them. 13 got reprimanded, and 11% got fired. However, are you ready for this? 80% of recent job seekers who cheated got the job. And nobody's the wiser. Except for you fine people who listen and watch this show. We don't know who they are. I hope it wasn't Kelly. I'll talk to her about that during the commercial break. Whew. I don't think you should lie or cheat. Just do the thing and win. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show, here to help you win at work. Let's go to Jesse now at San Diego, California. Jesse, how can I help?
Hi, Ken. It's an honor to talk to you.
Honor to talk to you. What's going on?
So I just lost my job last week, and I just feel like I have a world of options in front of me.
You do. That's a great viewpoint, considering you just lost your job. What happened?
Not entirely sure. Basically, they just pulled me in, and they're like, hey, this position's no longer a fit for you.
And that's all they told you?
Yep.
Did you ask any follow-up questions?
A few, but they were very vague, and it just feels like they were trying to give as little detail as possible.
Well, there's no question about that. How long had you been in the role?
I was about to hit 3 years.
And had you had any performance reviews in the 3 years?
Yes, I had 2.
When was the last one?
It was at my 2-year anniversary.
So a year ago?
Yeah.
And how'd that go?
I wasn't happy with it. I mean, I feel like I worked very hard, and I'm very confident.
What'd they tell you, though?
But they said I was basically mediocre. I got the job done. That's it.
What kind of work were you doing?
I managed construction loans.
What did they give you specifics on where you were mediocre?
I mean, I think they had one section, category, I forget which one, that I was excellent in, but the rest were like, competent.
Oh,
and
okay. Well, I'd like to see that review. That would have been fun to have on my desk right now. That would have been fun to look at. No, I'm not kidding you. I appreciate you telling me the truth. I might come back to that. What were you excellent in? What was the one category they gave you excellent?
I don't recall, but I mean, I filled that chart out myself, and I put excellent for myself, all of it. But
so they did. So they you said excellent for everything, and they came back and said, not so fast, Sparky. We got you excellent in one category only.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a problem. All right. I don't want to dig too much into that, but that can be helpful to me sometimes, because it's really important that we learn something going forward about ourselves. And we want to try to get as in touch with reality as possible. But let's focus on your future. Would you be calling me today about all the options in front of you had you not gotten fired?
Well, so I had a plan, and basically I started my own real estate business and financial coaching, which I took the Master Series.
Oh, good. Okay.
Through Dave Ramsey. And so I started both of those as a conjoining kind of business plan. And my plan was, to work full time and to do these on the side and then grow those businesses until a point where I can make that jump seamlessly. Mm-hmm. But with this whole job loss, I'm like, I'm not quite ready to jump into that full time. So do I go work another job? And
yes.
Then, where it's going to be more complicated to figure out any schedules or whatnot with my business? Or do I kind of just go gung-ho on the business? And
well, what kind of money are you making off of the side hustle?
No, not much. It's very, very small. I mean, last year I made less than $10,000.
And what is the service again?
It's real estate. So I'm a licensed realtor in California, and then coaching. But I'm just getting started of word of mouth.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you combined your financial coaching somehow in the real estate, but that's really two separate things, correct?
Yeah. I mean, one kind of can lead into the other to where I can provide somebody with both services.
Okay. That's what I thought I heard. All right. So my question is you're ready to go. You could sell a house today. Yes?
Yeah. Yeah.
How much were you making in this job that you just got laid off from?
It was about $80,000.
Okay, here's why I'm a bit torn, Jesse.
Me too.
How many houses have you sold to this point? Not many. If you only made $10,000 last year between both of those side hustles.
Yeah.
Have you even sold a house?
Yes.
Okay, and how much was it?
So my commission off that was over $7,000.
Okay, but how much was the house?
$700,000.
Okay. All right. So you split commission with another realtor, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm friends with a guy by the name of Brian Buffini. You probably know who he is. He's kind of the Dave Ramsey of the real estate, the professionals. I mean, he's just a phenomenal dude. And he and his brother, they run a company called Buffini and Company, and they train real estate professionals to grow their business, and they're the best. And I ran this by him once because on paper, I thought, well, in an advice situation like yours, in the past, before talking to Brian, I would have said, all right, go get you another $80,000 job. Doesn't even matter what it is, just go get it. And then you're just going to start showing houses every night, showing houses on the weekend, and get your real estate up to a point where you've got 6 to 12 months of your income from the day job in the bank. That would be my advice. I ran that by him once, and he said, certainly someone can do it, a very, very motivated person, but at the end of the day, there comes a point where to truly grow your business selling homes, you have to go all in. And so in the San Diego area, I don't know what the real estate market is like, but my guess is you have opportunity if you really get after it. Is that true or false?
True.
And then what's your activity been as a realtor over the last year? How active have you been in trying to get new clients, listings, people who are looking to buy? I mean, how aggressive have you been? On a scale of 1 to 10, meaning 1, I've been asleep the whole time, and 10, I didn't sleep at all. All I did was sell houses. Where are you at on that scale?
I'd probably say like low end 3 or 4.
So the question becomes, why?
Well, I was trying to go fairly slowly and just do word of mouth. I don't have a budget for marketing or anything like that.
Right. Or do you have a broker that you're working with?
Yes.
Does the broker help with that?
Very little.
Okay. Well, the point is you know people and they know people, and you're going to have to start going after houses, listings, and people who are looking to buy a house like your life depends on it, because it kind of does. Because I'm going to tell you right now, financial coaching is a long haul, and you can't go after financial coaching and being a realtor at the same time. You can't. You're going to have to choose one or the other. And I'll be very honest with you. I'm always going to let you make that decision. Okay? Because the numbers tell me and would lead me to say, go do the realtor thing, because just the income is there. But if your heart wants to do the financial coaching, again, that is a little bit easier to do part-time and knock down a day job and slowly build that business up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's before you. The question is, what does your heart want to do? Financial coaching or real estate? Or both? If the answer is both, you're going to have to make the commitment that the financial coaching comes along slower.
Right.
What's the answer? What do you want to do?
I mean, I feel like I found more of a love for the coaching.
Okay, great. Then guess what? Go get yourself a day job for $80,000 and start building up the financial coaching on the side. A lot easier to do. You can do those coaching sessions in the early morning. You can do those sessions at lunch. You can do those sessions at night for people and weekends.
Yeah, that's basically what I have been doing, and so
but you're not doing it enough. It just takes time. Correct. So we need another job, is what I'm saying. So you called. What should I do? You need a day job. It sounds like you need one pretty quickly. So use the experience that you have, the expertise that you have, and just go get a job where you can do the job well. Now something's off on what happened in this past experience. I don't know what happened, but you're going to have to be really honest with yourself. I mean, really honest with yourself, and find out for yourself, where was I off? Where they said I was okay, and I thought I was great. I need to learn something and do something about it.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.